You know we wouldn't do a show like this without a card-carrying member of the ACLU. Here's Ira Glasser.
I used to be asked all the time when I was at the ACLU whether or not it's frustrating when you spend so much time arguing for the right of free speech that such a majority of Americans don't agree with you. My response always was, no. I think everybody's in favor of free speech so long as it's theirs. The only speech that people don't want to hear is speech that they don't like. But the lifeblood of the country depends on listening to what you don't like. Because if you don't listen to what you don't like, then pretty soon you're going to be the one who's barred from speaking. The price we pay for having the freedom to speak and listen and argue is that some of the stuff we have to hear is ugly.
Jews will not replace us! Jews will not replace us! Jews will not replace us!
You see, when people say they want to ban hate speech, what they mean is they want to ban the speech that they hate. But if you allowed something called hate speech to be banned, then the only important question would be who decides? And if the government is going to be the one to decide what hate speech to ban, it's not going to be the same speech as the speech you hate. It's going to be the speech they hate. In the 1990s, there was a big move on a lot of college campuses to ban hate speech. And what they meant by that is they wanted to ban racist speech. And a lot of black students were in favor of it. I was then at the head of the ACLU, and I used to go around speaking to these audiences. And I had a very substantial reputation as being an advocate for racial justice.
What you are talking about is when a policeman who has violated the Fourth Amendment and violated the rights of innocent people comes in and says he thought he was doing it the right way. A judge can say, okay, we'll look the other way.
Wait a second.
What that will do is encourage the police to do what they already do, which is violate the rights of many innocent people in order to catch a few who are guilty. That is not our system, and your proposal changes our system.
So I was sort of on their side, and they knew that in terms of the substance. But I didn't preach to them about the First Amendment. I used to ask those black students, if you succeed in getting your university to ban hate speech, what do you think is going to happen next? Do you think you're going to be the ones to decide, or do you think the Board of Trustees is going to be the ones to decide? And the Board of Trustees are white, and the Board of Trustees don't share your politics. And the truth of the matter is, if there had been hate speech codes on college campuses in the 1960s, their most frequent victim would have been Malcolm X, not David Duke. And the kids would look at me like they had never thought of it that way. But that's the problem. The problem is always who gets to define what's hateful and who gets to decide what to ban. And most often, it ain't you. Free speech is an acquired taste. It's something you learn about later. It's something I didn't understand really until I got to the ACLU and began to come to grips with these kinds of problems we're discussing now. The first time I saw people from the Klan talking, neo-Nazis talking. My first instinct was I wanted to take a club and beat them over the head. How could your first instinct not be that? But I began to see that the consequences of that was to give the government the power to decide who to beat over the head and for what speech. Restrictions on speech are like poison gas. It seems like, wow, this is a great weapon I have. When I have that son of a bitch in my sights and I have the gas, I can stop him. So you shoot the gas out, and then the wind shifts. And the political winds always shift. And pretty soon the gas is blown back on you. And that's the nature of speech restrictions. And that's true no matter who's doing the restricting. People have always confused the right to speak with the support for the content of what people say. The biggest problem I always had at the ACLU, if we defended the rights of communists to speak, people thought we were communists. If we defended the rights of racists to speak, people thought we were racist. That's not the same thing. The people of this country have to understand that they are protected when they protect the rights of their enemies to speak. And that they are endangered when they support restrictions against their enemies. Because you can't limit those restrictions, and you can't trust who's going to be in power to enforce them. And so the price of our free speech is to be insulted by the ugliness of speech we hate.